Hello and welcome to my video about bicultural values. Bicultural values can be described as things in the environment that hold a significant importance, either being biological or cultural in nature. Biological features include fauna and flora, while cultural values are more complex, being both intangible and tangible. These may include dances and songs, engravings, stories, and the spiritual connection to the land. All these values vary from different communities. As environmental managers, it is important to understand bicultural values, as it will allow us to identify them in order to protect them, preserve items with strong cultural or spiritual value for future generations, as well as respecting the people that live in these environments, as we don't want to take away anything that's important to them. At Macquarie University, there has been a proposal made to redevelop Mars Creek. This proposal has come about due to the flooding events this area experiences and the devastating impact it has on the surrounding environment. As future environmental managers, we have the responsibility and task to ensure that the bicultural values at Mars Creek and the surrounding environments are preserved during this redevelopment. Vegetation types around the site include dry and wet sclerophyll forest and rainforest. Multiple land uses including commercial, parkland, industrial, educational and transport, with various roads and tracks around the Mars Creek area. The site also includes several listed heritage sites. It is important to note that there are Indigenous stakeholders around the Mars Creek area. We collected our data by using an app called CyberTracker. CyberTracker allows you to reconfigure the software to allow for your variables and interests to be recorded. The purpose of using CyberTracker was that it allowed us to record bicultural values of the site and surrounding environment. The bicultural values we had to consider came from an Indigenous and Western scientific perspective due to our various stakeholders. Let's just take a look at the app we created. We made it in the lab on computers, and CyberTracker allows you to install it to a mobile device to take into the field. Within our app, we have 4 tasks: Start GPS, Record bicultural values, Stop GPS, and Finish. Firstly, we go into the Start GPS and touch down the arrow so that our location is recorded every 1 second. So once that task is done, we are able to record any bicultural value we come across. For our location, we included bush tucker, fresh water, large, shaded trees, animals, learning circle, other, in case we find something we don't have a category for. Say you came across a large shaded tree, you can record a photo of it, and even a description, such as species. All the while, CyberTracker is recording the GPS location. So once we've collected all our observations, we can turn off the GPS by clicking here, and confirm that we've finished the study. All the data is then transferred onto the computer where we can track our bicultural values. Here are the bicultural values we found at Mars Creek. This image represents where we found our bicultural values and their exact GPS location. Our first bicultural value we stumbled upon were split trees. Indigenous Australians use these to collect rainwater. Large shaded trees were considered a bicultural value as they provide a habitat for native species, as well as possible medicinal use by Indigenous Australians. Native tree species such as the narrow-leafed jabong are also considered bicultural values as they were used as bush tucker by Indigenous Australians. Possible bandicoot holes were discovered around the Mars Creek area. This is a bicultural value as it provides a habitat for our native species. Lamandra longnifolia is a plant species used by Indigenous Australians for weaving, bush tucker, and a water source. Various forms of acacia or wattle were found along the Mars Creek area. This is an important bicultural value as it provided many forms and functions in Indigenous way of life. Fresh water is a large bicultural value found along Mars Creek. It provides water, is a habitat for animals, and is aesthetically pleasing. We came across caves and waterfalls in the Lane Cove National Park. It is a bicultural value as it provided shelter for Indigenous Australians as well as being very aesthetically pleasing. Xanthoria is a very unusual native plant to Australia. Indigenous Australians use them as fire sticks. The Learning Circle is a cultural place and was originally built to acknowledge the university's long-standing relationship with the Darug people. In conclusion, the bicultural values around Mars Creek must be taken seriously in order to preserve this area's defining features. Within each environment, there will be various stakeholders, and each will have different bicultural values. It is our role as environmental managers to consider all these different bicultural values and all these different perspectives. Thank you for watching.